Hey, Bolly.
Hey Greg, what's up?
Hope you have your energy today because we have a very energetic guest coming on.
Who?
We have Heidi List Murphy she's the founder and the executive director of the List Academy of Music, and she is full of energy.
Is she from Newport County?
She is from Newport. She's a Newport resident, and she's going to tell us all about how she got started, how important music is, and what music has done in her life, and how she's using music to help others.
I love these podcasts where I learn something
Yeah.
about these people that have services around here.
So it's going to be a fun one. So get ready. And without further ado, today joining us on the Totally Preventable podcast, we have Heidi List Murphy, the founder and executive director of the List Academy of Music. Heidi, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Thank you.
Good.
So to start like we normally do, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today?
Okay. Well, just want to first off say thank you very much for having me on. Um, let's say a little bit about myself. I moved to Newport, Rhode Island, back in the early 1990s, and I couldn't find piano lessons, so for myself. And I looked all over, and I ended up going to Salve Regina to take advanced classical piano. And I was telling my instructor at Salve that I'm like, I can't believe there's not a lot of places to take piano lessons other than going to the university. He said, well, funny thing you should say, because I have 20 students right here on a piece of paper that I can't take. So why don't you take them? And I said, oh, I'll take them and start a music school. So I ended up bringing on 20 piano kids at an early age out of my home on Narragansett Avenue. And within like 6 months, I basically put a sign out and started a music school, got a kinder music program going. And within probably a year, I had 200 like 0 to 18 months, 18 months to 3 years old, 3 to 5, and 5 to 7. And then that in addition to my 20 piano students. So I had List Academy of Music evolved by itself. It just went pop, and there I was. So that's the initial part of how List Academy came. And I've always been a pianist. I took piano lessons I took a red crayon to my parents' Steinway. I colored in the word Steinway at age 5. My father picked me up at the back of the neck, and he says, you're going to sit on that piano stool until you learn how to play that instrument. And believe it or not, I'm still taking lessons. So, there's been a lot of music influence in my life. My parents both played. My mother was a classical pianist. My father played the ukulele. He played the harmonica. He played the piano. He was a tenor in the barbershop quartet. And then he met my mother. Well, actually, they were from Westport, Connecticut together. So they went to the same high school. And those two were the music department in 1941. So they went on to have 5 kids. And I'm one of 24 grandchildren, and we all have some kind of music or art in our lives. And where there's a lot of musicians, bluegrass, lots of fiddlers. So that's a little bit about me.
Oh, that is
I
great.
bet family get-togethers are fun.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, in Indiana, I'll tell you, Indiana. So we have lists on the East Coast, lists in Indiana, and lists in California. So we all meet in Indiana at a big 105 acre farm. And there's a big, beautiful barn. And it's Maple Shade Farm West. So West. Maple Shade Farm West in Indiana. And we all have, it's probably 100 of us. And they have string playing, and it's just fun.
That sounds.
But we haven't had one in a long time, but we need to have another one.
All right, we heard it here first.
So your organization's motto is music is medicine for the mind. So can you explain how music helps improve the quality of life for seniors suffering from dementia and
Okay, so I want to first, throw out there that I am not a music therapist. I am a music enthusiast, and all my training, as far as what I do with seniors, comes from what's happened to me in my personal life. Um, when I go out to senior homes and veterans, what happens is miraculous. What I see come from them during the session and after the session is just a joy of being alive. They come alive. That's the bottom line. And, a lot of people think, totally preventable medicine would absolutely be music. For me, that's the case. And I can only speak for me. I can't speak for other people. But, I had a dark time in my life, and, there was drinking involved, and not drugs so much, except for the drugs that doctors prescribed for my PTSD. And I was like, you know what? That's just not who I am. I'd rather go back to my swimming, and go back to my music playing that I knew from a child. And that pulled me out of the ground, literally. And think about all the time, Gregory, Polly, think about all the time you put in to drinking alcohol or vegging out on marijuana. If you replace that with a love of music and want to learn any style or instrument of music, that is cognitively enhancing, like healthy. So that is my motto, because it helped me come back stronger than ever, like never before. I have still a 16-year-old. I have 4 children, and they're all very successful adults. I have a 16-year-old who is straight A student, 3-sport athlete, plays the guitar, and he's going for Eagle Scout and Boy Scouts. And the kid, and I'm on fire. And at 60 years old, I never thought I'd be starting another company. And I feel like I'm 30 years old. And I say, why is this? Why do I don't have any more anxiety? I had a ton of anxiety.
Wow.
I felt down. I had all those, symptoms of just not being well. I've had them myself. So to be where I am today, that's where I'm coming from. Like, this is totally preventable if you get out of a situation by casting aside the drugs and the marijuana and the alcohol. Think of all that big, huge time factor that you have to say, play an instrument, play the guitar, play the piano, play the flute, play the violin. Think of that time, because that time is precious. And that's the time devoted that you were partying. So that's kind of where I turned around and said, you know what, this is helping my seniors. The seniors are laughing. The seniors are smiling. And that's my goal. When I walk in and I tell them that, I said, my goal here today is just to make you smile. And believe it, I've walked in and people are like, they're very stern. And I said, my job here today, we don't care about what you want to do. My job here today is to make you smile. And within 5 minutes, they're laughing. And that afternoon, they're eating their mashed potatoes and their green beans at night, and I've been told this by the music therapists on staff at these resident halls and like the veterans, the activities directors up at the veterans home. They're very, very happy after a session. And that's why I'm at the veterans home every Thursday or so.
Now, how do you guide participants into what instrument? Is it just let people?
Okay, so I have my own program. It's called Chime. Okay. Chime is, in fact, I have one right here. It looks like this. Okay. And Chime is it's a bell, and I have 8 to 12 of them. and I give them to the residents, the seniors of a facility, and I play the piano. So they've had no background. They have had no musical experience. And they could be in the memory care unit. So that's the deepest level we go. We can also do just active seniors in a senior center in Middletown or something like that. So I put the chimes in each of their hands, and then I play them as a conductor. So the only rules are, don't play until you see the whites of my eyes, and don't play behind my back. So the veterans absolutely love those two rules. Okay, they know it. And the great thing about these chimes is that they feel they're heavy. They feel like artillery almost, and they're masculine, and they like to hold it. It's an instrument, and they are costly. Those bells are about $105 to $150 per bell. So when you get 12 bells in front of you, I play the piano. So I'll play in a 45-minute session, I'll play 8 to 12 anthems from start to finish. And I tell them, look, if you make a mistake, it's all my fault. They love that, because no woman on this earth has ever said those words coming out of their mouth. I say, all right, if you make a mistake, it's all my fault, because it's all on me. So I get 8 to 12 anthems in a 45-minute session. They get cognitive, emotional, physical, musical. There's 4 or 5 different behaviors that come out of that session that are therapy related methods. And that is why I push it so, and I go back to the veterans every week, because they see a difference. Do I know the difference? No, they just say they see a difference. And I said, well, that's good, because I'm, not a music therapist. I am enrolled now at Brown University come January in the cognitive behavioral therapy course, just so that I can see exactly, follow a little bit more with each time I go to the elder care facilities. So does that answer?
That's a great answer.
You probably forgot what the question was.
No. Now, do you only do residential facilities, or?
We focus on the veterans. Mm-hmm. We do elder care facilities, and we do senior centers. Down the road, there's a lot more coming, an educational platform, so that you would be able to go online and learn how to be a charming chimer and go to your own elderly facility that your parents are in, say, or so we're going to educate how to do this program.
I like the chiming charmer.
Yeah, I know.
Charmer.
Yeah, charming chimer. Yeah, because you need a little a pizzazz in your, I'll tell you, in order to do what I do, I always equivocate it to playing tennis and piano at the same time. It is definitely an active sport. You have to get from one end of the U formation to the other within a note value. So if I set up my group of participants and I'm playing Star Spangled Banner, I'm here, but I got to be over there by the time I get to that note. So you got to move. This is not a desk job by any means. Okay, you wear your sneakers and you're in shape. So, yeah, on November 8th, we actually have our video going live on our website. So to see it actually being done is an event that we're going to be having down at the Newport Yacht Club.
Wow,
that's wonderful.
That sounds great.
Do the participants start to learn the songs?
Do the participants learn the songs?
Yeah, so like if you are the same participants playing the same bells, do they catch on and start memorizing the tunes?
I don't always play the same songs.
All right.
No, but the veterans know this tune so well.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really only, like, if I start to play You Are My Sunshine with them, they like it, but they don't like it as much. You can almost see them like take a little kind of, but if I play an anthem, they're back right up here, you know, and they come in their chairs and they're all kind of slouchy. And I walk in and I'm like, hi guys. And they're like all ready to play their instrument. And when I say, okay, all right, hold your instrument, ready position, they're all in ready position, and they can take their elbow and place it right on the armchair. And that's, you know, that's how they're going to get that sound. And it's very minimal effort, but such a lovely ensemble and symphony of song that they know. And at the end of that session, you have guys singing, you have some are even yodeling. And I think that's what touches my heart so much, is that these veterans, you know, they've given so much. So I have to give, you know, if people can give back to the veterans by learning this, you know, become a charming chimer and get out there and do this work, because I'll tell you, at the end of the day, you're going to feel just fabulous. And I swear, I mean, that's just like, that's what I hang my hat on every day, is that thank gosh I have my music, because if I didn't, I don't know where I'd be. I that's why Totally Preventable is absolutely, you know, don't go down to a bar and get a beer. Go get an instrument and go home and learn how to play the instrument. And when you feel like having a drink or you feel like partaking in something, practice. It's kind of black and white.
So,
right?
I was just going to say,
because the biggest problem is time.
I was going to say how wonderful for these people to produce such an with their ensemble of other people, a song. You know, they have one part in this, but together they're a great team. And
that's right. The socialization even method of getting them together. And not only that, but they have, you know, 30 people in the audience, their families and friends watching this. And the people who cannot or are incapacitated or can't do anything, they're in the audience, but can hear it.
Yeah.
And so and then even the staff, you know, the staff is affected by, you know, there's CNAs that come and go, wow, I wish I could do that. Well, you can now. You can. We're working on an educational platform where you go online and you can take the course and figure it out and go do it wherever you need to do it. Get the certification for List Academy, and we will help you on your way, because there's no negative. You know, it evokes positive emotions, you know, it helps anxiety, you know, it helps you get out of depression. I mean, and I remember back in it must have been like 13 years ago. I'm a big water person, and I was in somebody's indoor pool, and I lifted a pedal boat out of the pool so it wouldn't hurt any of the kids. And the thing fell over and hit me in the head. And all I could see was black. And I'm a lifeguard. I actually rescued myself, climbed out of the pool, called 911, had them come and get me. And I had a concussion.
Oh.
And I had said right before this, before this even happened, I said, boy, I don't know what depression's like, but if I ever did get depression, I would like to help people. And this concussion happened to me. And I had it for about 6 weeks, and they told me it would either be 6 weeks or 6 months. And it can even go even longer than that. And I got back into music, and I'll tell you, I was back in about 2 weeks just by doing music every day. And, you know, I can't see what's going on in my head, but boy, just holding on to that music is a life ring. You know, it just saves me every time. So
You you mentioned how List Academy like blew up. Just you had like first start off with those 20 kids, and then you had 0 to 18 and like 200. What what was it, or what is it that made you make the shift more towards veterans? And or is it veterans as still
No,
the
I'll tell.
decision, or
Okay. In 2008, when the economy broke, I dissolved List Academy. Um, Demographically, there was no more really money out there for a 501c3 with, and we would ask for money for children to learn their music lessons, because they couldn't pay, so you could still come and take music lessons. So I went back to a doing business and I went back to my own piano students. I hired one guy who taught 10 instruments. So it was he and I who took basically everybody on. And then I did my senior therapy work, my senior interactive music ensemble. I don't like to call it therapy because I'm not a therapist, but the ensemble work, this is when I developed it in 2012. So I went out to all the elder care homes and I was building this program 2012, and people seemed to love it. So let's say, then we went through all the COVID, but my parents were getting older and I lost my father. And he lived in Connecticut. And by the time I got the kids in the car and got my stuff in the car to drive to Connecticut, and he was in the hospital, he had passed. And it was like, oh my gosh, I missed my father's passing. So I was never going to let that happen again. I moved back to Connecticut because my mom was in her mid 80s, and I did these chimes with her in her late years, and she lived to 93. And I'm like, oh my word. I'm like, she loved music and she loved doing this with her friends. So when I came back from Rhode Island, I didn't know what to do. I was a piano teacher from COVID. So I said, you know what? I'm going to fire up the List Academy again. I actually had gotten a job this is a kind of wild story. I came back from Connecticut, and it was at the end of the year of COVID. So it was probably September of 2020. And my parents had both passed now, and I was living in Rhode Island. And I got down on my knees and I prayed and I said, God, Mom and Dad, could you please give me a job that would help me pop out of bed in the morning and go do what I'm supposed to do, whatever that is. And seriously, I'm not kidding. I went online and it said 85-year-old woman seeking companion with musical experience. I pushed my Indeed button. It went to Home Care Assistance of Rhode Island. They called me, said, could you do a virtual interview? I said, absolutely. Then I went for a one-on-one in South County, and they placed me with a family for the last 4 years I've been there. And she had full-blown Alzheimer's. And her husband was very sharp and very on point. And he was in his mid-80s. And he sang Perry Como, Frank Sinatra every Friday and Saturday night on Bellevue Avenue at LaForge for the last 40 years. I walked into their home, started crying, and I said, you're the couple I knew 20 years ago when I brought my kids up to LaForge to hear you guys sing, because they were this beautiful couple, and he'd sing, and then she'd sing second-hand rose, I'm wearing second-hand clothes. And then he'd go back to his Perry Como songs, and they were the most darling couple. And I was like, oh, I wish I could sing with my husband. I love them. I love them so much. And I was telling them, I was now in their house and they're in their mid-80s. And it was that couple. And so I sat her down at the piano and I'm playing. And now, guess what? She cannot say anything. She could not speak at all. Couple of words. So far, so good. That was about it, which is pretty amazing. you think about it. So far, so good. I sit down at the piano, I start playing, and she sings, all of me, why not take all of me? Bam, I'm firing up this List Academy of Music, because this is totally, I don't know how, but this is working. And so that's where it all started coming together. And I went back to all these care homes, and they're like, oh, Heidi, we'll take you. Yes, what happened to you? Yes, we'd love your, your chimes back. Yes, come back. So, but they're like, we can't afford it, because now I have CNA training. Now I have a lot more credentials and a lot more know-how, and I'm at that age too. So, I cared for my parents. I care so much for these, people that brought us into the world. They brought us in.
Right.
We should be taking care of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that is kind of how it all evolved. Now, where the veterans came into play is when I came back from Connecticut, I actually ran into a friend, and she said, oh, I just put my husband in the veterans today. And I said, oh, my word. I said, I used to do a music program. Oh, Heidi, you've got to go do that again. I said, no, I don't think I can. I'm 60 or close to 60 at that time. Oh, you have to. So I called the veterans, and they said, Heidi, name your price. That's what they said. We'll take it. We'll get back here. I said, okay. So that's when I went into the veterans, and that was June of 2022. We go twice a week, every week, unless they have COVID, unless there's a breakout in memory care. And then they call me and they say, there's somebody tested positive, those lovely words.
Right.
Not. So that's why the veterans became kind of like my beta tester, doing the work and the chime work, because I could see how it was helping them and feel better and making them laugh and be happy. And when I would leave the veterans home, it's pretty much it's a euphoric. I can't explain. That's what it is.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. I love that story. I lived with my great aunt and uncle for some time, and my uncle got Alzheimer's when I was about 5. We kind of met, some of my family, since we kind of met at an age, but we're not a musical family. So I was trying to think this morning, like, there was a song that he would always sing. I've never actually heard the song. I always just assumed he made it up. And so now I'm going to have to do a deep dive on the internet to see if it was a real song, but sometimes he'd sing the words, or sometimes he would just, you could hear him humming it, or,
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So, but
yeah, so it would be a great idea if you went on to the internet now and put in all your information, and it would spit out songs of his time, and then activities you can do with him that would help him even play an instrument along. Like I had my client take a ukulele, and just play. That was it. And he could sing any words. 5'2", eyes of blue. Oh, what those 5 feet can do. Has anybody seen my gal? Just by doing one little thing. Okay? You don't have to do a lot on a music. You just get that strumming going, and you can have a lot of fun. And when you're in your 80s and 90s, and that's what you can do. But you know what? They do it.
Wow.
yeah.
They love it. And I have another program coming out called the Virtuoso Pianist. And this one's wild. But it does only one-on-ones. So I can have, let's say, Gregory, I'll take you just for instance, and I'll sit you at a piano, and I program this clavinova. It's a Yamaha digital clavinova piano. And you can play a fully orchestrated song from the beginning to the end with all this instrumentation. Wow. By following a light system, okay? but you can play. I'll give you a half-hour lesson. You could play 8 to 10 songs in that lesson.
Wow.
So my 91-year-old client came to me 2 years ago and said, I want to learn how to play the piano. So I brought him down to Larry Brown's on Valley Road, and we put him at this Clavinova piano, and that 91-year-old could not leave. And I said, Mr. Blank, you should just come down. We'll let you in once a week or 3 times a week, whatever you want, and you can play. He goes, no, I'm going to buy the instrument. I said, you already have a grand piano and electric piano at your house. You don't need a third piano. I'm going to buy it. He goes, that's how much joy. He goes, money, if that's so much joy out of this one piano, and they're not cheap pianos. I mean, they are, thousands, but under 5,000, you could get one. Okay, just to give you a kind of an idea. So he purchased one, and it sits in his bedroom. And he gets up every morning, and he's still working. I don't even know if you know this man, but he's been in Newport 60 years. He still goes to work 4 days a week from 9 to 5, and he takes his piano lessons on Wednesday afternoon after work.
Wow. Wow.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Okay. And he is completely articulate, and he is a love of a man to listen to because he loves this town. And I think, him, for example, he went, he called me, he was at Village House. His niece called and said he's at Village House. I went down 2 weeks. He was out, bam, back up playing piano. I'm like, wow. Oh my gosh. And it just seems when they go down and they have that music to fall back on, here we go again. It's totally preventable. Like, if you get any kind of music into your life, you know what? You might not just be as sick. It might help you just as it helped me or somebody else.
Someone is listening and is like, this would be wonderful for my loved one. Do they have to bring their loved one to the vets, or is there another way for them to work with you?
We're just kind of going more awareness now of that we're here. No, they wouldn't bring their loved one. They would fill out, this is down the road a little bit when we get our educational platform, but I am working with Rhode Island Hub, because they take entrepreneurs and founders and they take it to the next level. And that's where they put me into a lot of courses at Brown University. I've been going into Providence and learning and meeting people that are in, technology, and say, okay, we can build a platform and they love this whole concept because it's healthcare, it's education, and it's technology. So to answer your question, Polly, you would go probably in a year from now, go online, fill out the questionnaire about your loved one, and it will spit out songs and activities that you yourself could do with them. Or you could become a charming chimer, So there's going to be variations of what we can offer, because obviously we can't touch everyone, but with music, it's a universal language. Mm-hmm. So absolutely everybody can learn it.
I have someone trying to be a charming chimer, so
you have to think about it for a cha-cha. We should just call it a cha-cha-cha or something.
Now, can residential facilities contact you?
They can buy the program.
Okay, so they can buy the program. Okay.
They would be able to go on and buy the program and then educate their people that would like to do this. And the only criteria that you would need to be a chimer would be that you can read a G clef in the music language.
Every good boy deserves fudge.
Correct. Very good. Every good boy deserves, yes.
Wow.
And FACE for face. The spaces are easy.
For a while.
Wow. You could do this.
Yep.
Here, guys, put your hand up like this. Put your hand like this. And you can go E, G, B, D, F are the names of the lines of the treble clef, and F, A, C, E, the spaces are easy. E, G, B, D, F are the names of the lines of the treble clef, and F, A, C, E, the spaces are easy.
All right.
And there you go. And you don't need a piano. You don't, yep, you could just need yourself driving down the road. There you go. Now you learn something.
Oh, I have 2 violinists and 1 saxophonist in the house. Yes. And I have no idea, but I'm sure that I could do this. Every good boy deserves fudge.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
CE. I'm gonna be
Yes.
a genius when I get home today. You're like, whoa, damn. Like, yeah, I can't tell you right now.
Wow. Impressive.
I'm ready.
3 kids with that all play instruments.
All playing instruments. Yep. Yep. So,
See, that is great. Like I have to say that my creative, whenever I can't figure out a job, something creatively pops into my head. Like I actually, when I needed money and I just moved back to Newport, I went down and to the lobster shack at First Beach. And I said to Barry, can I just deliver all your meals to the beach blanket as they call in? Because it was a call in, a COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So they would call in their order. So I ended up, and it was such great plates and bringing them out to their beach towels. And that was the job I created. It was like, it was DoorDash on the beach. And at that time I had a kid at Syracuse, a kid at UVM, and a kid at UConn. So I had like a UConn hat and a UVM sweatshirt and my short. And they're like, which college? I'm like, all 3. And they would like tip me $20, $30 just because I had 3 kids. I made a lot of money. I would leave like First Beach with like, wow, I made like $600 today.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go to First Beach.
So keep those kids in music education because it really is a springboard of magnitude of where you can go. I've always had 3 jobs just because I want to. And just because they've helped in every capacity. Oh, I could do that. And it's because I think music and the neurotransmitters that are working in their brain, they're just sparking on fire all the time. But I bet you can't tell from my conversation.
This has been great. This is very informative. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this has been great getting to know you and learning about everything that you're doing. And I'm gonna recommend someone being a charming.
Well, we have a brand new website up as of this past weekend. We got it up on Saturday, and we have an event coming up on November 8th. And we have a guest speaker by the name of Greg O'Brien. And Greg O'Brien is a investigative reporter / career journalist. And he lives in Boston, and he was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's. And he wrote a book about what it's like to have Alzheimer's in the mind of a reporter. And the book's name is called On Pluto. And we're having a book signing, and he's speaking at the Newport Yacht Club, and it's a free event.
Wow.
And a lot of people, so we're going to have our ribbon cutting. We're also going to have our, the trailer, the commercial that we've made for our Chime group. This is great. I have a group of people, seniors, who are the childhood friends of the clients of mine that have passed on, my Alzheimer patient and her husband, and they were all born and raised in Newport. So this group of people are their child active seniors that are still here, and they're called, ready? The Legends.
Oh.
They're called the Legends.
Awesome.
That's very
And they're going to play. They're on my commercial that was going to go live November 8th. And they're playing live at the yacht club.
wow.
So they're going to be there as well. So I like,
Heidi, can
Go
you
ahead.
share your website?
yes, it's www.listacademyofmusic.org. And we are a registered 501c3 organization. And we just got some grant monies. Can't announce it yet because I have to actually call them after to talk about making this big announcement. We have a big announcement, but I can't make it right here. We have a lot of stuff on the back burners that I can't talk about, which is killing me. You don't know how hard this is.
It just means we
There's
need a
really
part
good
2.
Yeah, part three. Yeah, no, part 2 is going up fast, and it's very fun. And I just know that I got to stay on the straight and narrow because I'm being led by a universal force, that these people that have passed on, they're working through me and they're making it happen. And I'm only the vehicle. Okay. And what I do, I swear I do it because it's coming through me. And that's the part where I can't understand. I mean, I sometimes I have no idea what's being done. It's just, I just do it. It's not thought of because cognitively, I'm not thinking about it. It just flows. And that is, I guess I can only be the example of what music can do for your life.
Right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Heidi.
Thank you very much. It was great talking to you.
Well, thank you very much for having me today. It's great to meet you guys and to chat anytime.
All righty.
Super.
Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, you too, guys. Take care.